Thanks for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. You can find us wherever you find podcasts or listen to music. When you have an opportunity, please give us a 5-star review, write a little note, tell us how we're doing. We really appreciate it. It helps us keep this thing going. If you want to reach out to us, you can find us at Facebook at Hidden Tracks. Instagram is at HiddenTracks99, and if you'd like to send in submissions or talk to us or give us any feedback about what we're doing, our email is myhiddentracks99@gmail.com. Thank you so much again for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the show. What's up, everybody? I have Ben and Daniel from A Place for Owls out of Colorado. You may remember them. They've been on our weekly threes before of bands that we're listening to, and we think you should too. So, Ben and Daniel, welcome to the show, guys.
Hey, Shane. Thanks.
Well, why don't we get whoever wants to tell the awesome story about the formation of A Place for Owls. We'll get that out of the way for those who don't know how you guys all came together and started creating what is magic to my ears.
Well, A Place for Owls is a band that I think is formed from some deep friendship. Daniel and I met each other freshman year of college. And so we're both in our 30s now. And so that's been, like 17 years, something like that.
Yeah, that's right.
And so when we first met, one of the first things we did was play guitar together. Like, we played a bunch of Jimmy Eat World songs and a bunch of songs by May. May was a college band, or May was like a hometown band for Daniel. And it was also
Virginia. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And Destination Beautiful had just come out not long before that, and we were both in love with that record. And so we played a lot of those songs. We played a lot of Jimmy Eat World, like Clarity era stuff, and there's just immediately a kinship. And then we just stayed friends for years and years and years, and have mostly lived in the same city. When Daniel was moving out to Colorado, I moved out shortly after, just to kind of keep the friendship going. And then I met Jesse, our drummer, and Ryan, our bassist. And I went on Coloradans, we go on hikes when we're meeting people for the first time. It's like it's like your first thing you do. You go, let's go on a hike this weekend together or whatever. So Jesse and I were on a hike together, and we were just name dropping like all the same bands, like American Football, Manchester Orchestra, Braid, Promise Ring. And we just loved the same sort of music. And so Jesse is probably the best drummer I've ever heard. He's also the best guitar player in our band. The joke in A Place for Owls is that our two best guitar players are our bassist and our drummer. So there's on our record, there's a song called Something Is Not Right, and there's like a big 80s hair metal guitar solo in the middle of it.
That's why it's one of my favorite songs.
Yeah, yeah. But that's Jesse, our drummer, on the guitar there. Fun fact, everybody played on that record, everybody played a guitar solo, and the best ones are the ones that were played by Ryan, our bassist, and Jesse, our drummer. So anyways, that was like 2018. And we, you know how bands get together, you just start jamming, and then it's kind of like first dates where you're like, you don't want to come on too strong, but you're like, holy shit, I love these guys, that they play so well, and just everything gels. We like the same sort of music. And so we eventually we started as a 3-piece with Jesse and Ryan, and then we pretty quickly added Daniel in the mix, just because Daniel and I have been friends and doing music together for, like I said, nearly 2 decades now. And then before we recorded our full length, we asked a guy named Nick Weber to join our band too. Nick now plays keys and third guitar, and also he does like Ableton programming stuff, and he plays live. We have saxophone and trumpet and stuff in the mix. And so Nick also plays sax. And so he produced we did a little acoustic EP back in 2020. And Nick produced and engineered that. And we just loved his sensibilities. And he's like the best songwriter in the world. Shout out, Nick Weber is going to put out a full-length solo record this year in March. And so depending upon when this podcast episode comes out, it might be out or it might be close to coming out. But anyways, so now we're a 5-piece strong, and when you're in your 30s and you have a band, it's mostly just not only is the art good and you like playing music together, but it's mostly an excuse just to like hang out and have some friendship time. Like half the band, like we're all married, half of us have kids, and so getting together just to have adult time is precious. Just bro time is really good. And so yeah, that's how we got together. It's just kind of based upon friendship. And most of the times when we have quote unquote band practice, we're just dicking around, we're just like hanging out and being friends with each other.
Songs are the result, but it's not the main thing that we're doing.
That's right.
Maybe that's why it's so good. Maybe it's because it's a different approach to making music. You're reveling in the fact that you have a little quiet time away from the family and band practice, and you get to dick around. Right. And then a song comes out of dicking around. I mean, you can tell by press start how the full length starts that you're probably just dicking around playing video games and hanging. Look out.
Yeah. That's right, man. And I think there's a lot of American culture seems to value productivity, and like you always have to be like on all the time. And I found like the best things in life like happen really slow as the result of just like you're doing something, especially with music, like you're washing the dishes and a melody will come to you and you'll be like, oh, I got to get my phone to, record that real quick. And that's like how most of the songs have sort of come together. We just try to like, almost like you're making a fine stew. We take our time and let it simmer, right?
Well, I appreciate that it simmered to a great tasting stew without mushrooms, because I don't like mushrooms. So, but being able to come together as friends, you and Daniel were friends for a long time, and being in a band, I was going to say, are you or Daniel, when you came into this, were you like, I hope this doesn't fuck up our friendship, or you're like, this isn't really a big thing anyway?
No, it was an add-on for sure. It was like, oh, this is just one more thing that we get to do together and we have fun doing. And yeah, no, it enhanced for sure.
That's awesome.
There's been a little bit recently where we got way more notice on our first record than we expected to. We expected to sort of put it out into the void and like have nobody,
like family and friends.
Yeah, like our would like it or whatever. You know? And
your first 50 copies were bought by your mother or father, right?
Yeah. But like we've just been pleasantly surprised that like strangers on the internet are enjoying the music, and there's been, as we've like been songwriting and writing this next batch of songs and sort of getting prepared for our second LP, there's been a little bit of anxiety, to be totally honest, of like there feels like there's more pressure now because success, quote unquote, was never really on the table when we recorded the first record. We just wanted to make something that we were really proud of and that we wanted to listen to. And now there's this creeping in feeling of like, oh shit, we could like, if we did this really well or worked with the right producer, we could break and be like the next big indie emo band. We could get on Pitchfork and like all this, all that stuff.
Yeah. I think probably more of it, though, for you would be not to disappoint the people that already fell in love with you guys, right? I think that's where more of it will come from, is I don't want to disappoint the people that actually found us and liked us.
Yeah, that's so true. And that's a really good reminder and encouragement. But we've been getting, as a little band, a little bit more bitchy towards each other recently. And I think it's because we're taking ourselves way too seriously. Like, oh, we could write this record and it could, people would like it and it could be a thing. And like that energy of like that, I don't know, ambition, or almost like, it's not quite greed, but it's it feels like the shadow of greed or something. And I think that's been a good, you talk about like, were you worried that Daniel was going to fuck up the friendship by getting the band? That's been really heavy on me recently, of like, hey, we're just primarily foundationally friends that get to make music together. And let's not take ourselves so seriously that like it makes us just not nice to each other or disagree about, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say the light side of that, the good side is like we see a review or someone writes something nice about us, and we do have this rhythm of like, okay, what are we grateful for? Who said something nice about us? Like at band practice, we always try to frame it up as like gratitude and what are people saying that's encouraging and good and positive. So, but it really is like there's a shadow to that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when it comes time to that and trying to create new songs, I understand the pressure that you probably feel behind that. But what you have to understand, and this is, me throwing on a father cape right now, is that what you've already done has already surpassed what you thought it could do, right? So just know that whatever you're doing moving forward, you've already achieved more than you ever thought you would. So you need to constantly go back to that initial feeling of when you started seeing all that good stuff happen.
Right. Yeah. Thanks, Dad.
Yeah. Because there's going to be dark days, there's going to be dark days, and there's going to be fucking trolls, and there's going to be people who want to shit on something beautiful,
right.
And throw tomato soup on a painting.
Right.
So just go back and remember, we created something that was just for us, and other people loved it too. So there's got to be something special about us. So let's remember that.
Yeah, that's really good, man. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah. Well, okay. Taking a dad thing off, and I'll put my brother coat on now.
Cool uncle.
My funkle.
Yeah.
Now, if someone never heard your music and you had to play them one song, what song of yours would you play for them right now?
That's a really hard question. I think I would probably answer this different than Daniel, but I think
I'm trying to start the fights now. So
yeah. Trying to break up the band. I think I would. This is a sleeper on the record. It's not necessarily the one that a lot of people say they gravitate to or whatever, but I really like the song "Deliberate Practice."
Okay.
It is, I think, maybe like fourth or fifth on the records, kind of ends and out side A. And lyrically, I think it's some of the work that I'm like the proudest of. It's also, it reminds me a lot of that, the pure and like unadulterated stuff that I used to listen to, well, still do, but like the stuff that I grew up on, like Sunny Day Real Estate and some of those early, like it's heavy and there's heavy vocals and parts, but really when you get down to it, it's like an acoustic guitar strung kind of folky song. And that's how I think about songwriting for us, is like, we will often, if it doesn't work just on acoustic guitar solo, then we're not that stoked about the song. Like, even if there's like a bunch of really cool riffs or like, cool parts or whatever, if the actual song, if you strip it down to like acoustic, it doesn't work acoustic, like that's kind of a litmus test for us. And that's one that just like always works, whether we play it in like a stripped down acoustic, like house show setting, or if we're playing, as loud as we can. Right.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. And, I historically have not always just said what I meant in lyrics. And like I sometimes try to hide things in poetry or whatever. And I feel like that's one where I think I'm a little bit more like kind of saying what I actually mean about things on Deliberate Practice.
Well, maybe title of the song. That's why. Yeah.
It's
pretty your words. Yeah.
Yeah. Daniel?
Yeah, I feel like, and I don't know that it's the best representation of our sound, but I feel like I'm Not Sure would be the one that I would share. Just for me, when I perform it, when I sing it, it's the one that I get lost in the easiest. And I just, I don't know, to me, that one just hits me the hardest. And that would be the one that I would just, that's my go-to to like, hey, this is what I want us to sound like. And this is what I feel when I listen to our band. So that's what I would share.
All right. Nice. So we're all different.
Yeah. What would you say?
I have two that I love. Where Do You Want to Go, or off of your single, My Own.
Yeah.
Those are the two that, for some reason, and again, when it comes to music, it's just when you hear it or how you heard it, and it just tickled my ear when I first heard Where Do You Want to Go. I was just like, oh, like that's the one that hit me and stuck with me.
Yeah.
So that's the one that I stick with to try to show somebody. But now I have two more.
You also picked, those are like literally the only two actual love songs I've ever written. They like, I've been married 11 years, and, my wife, Kate, used to rib me about like, hey, you write all these songs and you've not written a love song. And so like those two were sort of in a session of actually trying to write something heartfelt, earnest, and actually like, hey, babe, I love you or whatever. Now both of those songs are still like, there's a darkness to them too.
Well, your wife did email me to put those as my songs. So.
That's good, man. Maybe I'll write more love songs. I don't know.
Maybe. Now, I'll start with Daniel. When you were growing up as a kid, what was the first thing of music that hit you, like that brought you and changed your way of thinking about music? It's like a first musical memory. I always tell people my first one was a 6-year-old kid. I was sitting in the back of a 78 Oldsmobile, and the Beach Boys came on CBS 101. And the Beach Boys, hearing that sound for the first time as a kid, that was it. I was all in from that moment at 6 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Beach Boys, because I have a very early memory of getting my first CD player, like a boombox, and a Beach Boys like hits CD was the first CD that I owned. And I do have very strong memories of just the harmonies and the way they put together pop songs that were really, really creative and really beautiful. And I wouldn't have had that terminology at that point. But I remember that really, really resonating. And I must have been, I was probably 8 or 9. I was pretty young. And so that's a really early memory.
How about you, Ben?
I was in the my dad had a minivan that he took the seats in the back out because he like needed to move stuff all the time with his work. And so I was in the back of his van without a seat, no seatbelt, just kind of rolling around. And dad was playing a cassette tape of I forget which Beatles record has Hello Goodbye on it, like the Goodbye Goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
I would parrot back, like my dad would sing, hello, hello, and I would sing goodbye, goodbye, you know, and there's just something about that. And then probably the next formative musical memory was also the Beatles. It was one of the first CDs that I bought myself was Sergeant Pepper, and I had a CD boombox in my room in the attic. I lived in the attic of our house, and I just blared that baby, like, and front to back, Sergeant Pepper's like did something internally to me that I can't quite explain.
That's awesome. Now, when you had an opportunity to start venturing out and finding other styles of music, do you remember kind of one of the first things you found that you felt you were the first to own?
Yeah. I got I was not into heavy music growing up, but I had a friend from high school named Ward who was into like Thrice and Thursday and Me Without You and some of those guys. And he got me like, I think Brother Sister by Me Without You had leaked, and it was before it came out. And so he burned me a CD of Brother Sister. I've since like bought a copy. That's not the only that's not the only way, the pirated version. But it was so weird. And Ward was already into it, but like nobody else I grew up in West Virginia, which is like super redneck, super small town. And nobody else was into this weird ass music. And they're yelling, they're barking, they're like singing, folk, like children's folk songs at different points. It's like it was unlike anything I'd ever heard. So that Me Without You, Brother Sister record, I think, was for me.
Yeah, I remember hearing the hits from Bleed American, Jimmy Eat World,
Mm-hmm.
and someone saying something like, well, hey, they had an album called Clarity before that you should check out. And then going back and hearing that and listening to Clarity front to back, and that just being such a pivotal album. I mean, I know that probably by then people knew of it, but to me, it was like, okay, everyone kind of knows these hit songs off this new album, but Clarity, like this is just blowing my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was, and I'm an old fogey, so I mean, I still have my first Jimmy Eat World CD with an old picture of him and his brother on the front,
Yeah.
when it was just self-titled as Jimmy Eat World, which Bleed American became self-titled for a short while because it had the unfortunate thing of coming out at a certain time in the world. But I had said that there's not many bands that changed so much over a 3-album run, and every album is fantastic. Static Prevails, Clarity, Bleed American. It's every album was 100% completely different.
Yes.
And every album, there's no reason why I would turn them off.
Yeah. Clarity is, I think, a big one for us to come back to, especially it was the sort of like that. I just finished reading the book Sellout.
Yeah,
and,
Dan.
Yeah.
Book. Yeah.
Yeah. And I had not really, like, I sort of knew the Jimmy Eat World lore, but like reading the whole thing about how like they got put on Capitol pretty much with their first release, and then Capitol hated everything they did with Static Prevails. And Clarity was like their last chance to actually make a real record in a real studio with like strings and stuff. and I just love that. I already loved that record, but like just to know that it was kind of their last ditch effort to sort of do something beautiful is just so good.
Yeah, I remember I saw they were played at a roller skating rink over here in northern New Jersey. I've told this story before, but it was still to this day one of the best lineups ever. And it was the first time they were playing Lucky Denver Mint live. They had written it a couple weeks before, and they're like, "We're going to try a new song." And I heard Lucky Denver Mint for the first time, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah,
Like, what's this next album going to be?
yeah.
This could either be great or it could be horrible. And then when Clarity finally came out and I heard it, I was like, okay, so they're rewriting the game right now.
That's right. Because they were essentially a punk band before that.
Yeah, that's exactly what they were. That's why I couldn't believe they were signed right away to Capitol.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, that's weird. And then when Static Prevails came out, I'm like, this isn't like a Capitol sound, even though I absolutely adored the album. Like, I still sing Rockstar in the fucking shower.
Yeah. Dude, episode 4, what's the last track? Still sitting here. The whatever the last track is, like there's some songs off Static Prevails that are like touch me deeply.
Yeah, and you got Linton was singing a lot on that album too.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
So that's why it's different as well.
Yeah.
Now, when it came to learning to play music and starting to play music, when did that come into everyone's lives? Daniel, I'll start with you first. When did the whole, picking up an instrument start for you?
Yeah, I did piano lessons as a kid, like many kids do, for about maybe a year or two, and I liked the music. I liked the idea of it. I didn't love to practice, so I didn't really stick with it. But right around early middle school is when I was like, I want to learn guitar. It was like more my choice at that point. My parents bought me a guitar, got me some lessons, and that must have been like 11, 12 years old. Really got into it myself. And Clarity would have been one of those albums around that time where it was like, oh, I can learn these parts, and like I could do this, and I could come up with stuff like this. And the stuff I came up with was terrible compared to that. But it was a start,
Yeah. Now, you started playing a guitar, so you had to try to run out and find friends to play with, right?
Oh,
did you run out and start a band?
Yeah, I did. And it was one of those things where I had a buddy who had a drum kit, and his parents were musicians. So he had his parents had a room over the garage that was set up to do music. And that was one of my favorite things. His name was Bart, and me and Bart and our other friends would play music, and it was the best. It was like I looked forward to it so much.
What was the name of that band?
Oh
gosh, the first band was a band called The Takeaway. That's what we called ourselves.
That's actually pretty good.
It's not.
That's not a terrible first band name. We've had some real shit band names on here, and that's not bad at all. You've just moved up a little bit in our book for first band names.
Yeah.
Thanks.
How about you, Ben?
I think I was about the same age, maybe like 14, when I wanted a guitar, and my mom got me a guitar and got me some lessons. West Virginia is big on like bluegrass and traditional music. So actually my first musical experience of playing with somebody else was with a circle of old men with white beards that would meet every Saturday night at a friend's house. And they were drinking beer and picking tunes. And I was just, for the first 5 or 6 sessions or whatever with these guys, I was just holding the guitar, so afraid to even play a note. And then, eventually got the confidence to lead a song. And then I think after that, I, as maybe a 15 or 16-year-old, we were a part of a small country church, and I got to play on the praise band, which was there were 15 people in our church or whatever. And so I felt like hot shit playing guitar and helping lead some of the church music. So I think that's where I cut my teeth. And then when I finally got my own band together, we were a ska band. My band name is significantly worse than Daniel's. My last name is Sooy, Sooy, and we were the soybeans, but Sooy beans. And we were a ska band called the Soybeans, and we weren't very good.
If you look hard enough on the internet, though, you'll find.
Please don't, actually, please.
Now I'm going to search the internet because that's going to be the intro song. Well, I'm going to find something and it'll be the intro song to the episode. So, and I'll just put a disclaimer: you'll understand why this is playing after you listen to the show.
I shouldn't have shared that. That's so bad.
When you had an opportunity to first play music live in front of people, there's a couple different type of people in the world. There's people who get nervous as hell, scared as shit, and other people are like, I zoned out, and other people are like, I was the scaredest I've ever been in my life. Where do you fall in with that, Daniel, when you first performed in front of a group of strangers that weren't like your friends or your parents?
Yeah, definitely more in the nervous side. And I'm like, that whole imposter syndrome thing it runs deep. So I always have that feeling of like, I'm not as good as anyone at any of this. And like, I carry that. So yeah, definitely more in the nervous. I think now, like having done it a long time now, it's a lot more fun, but there's still performing taps into some biological, like fight or flight kind of thing deep within me. It's like, it's way down there, but it triggers something deep down there.
How about you, Ben?
I think that something must be broken in my brain because I don't have any sort of anxiety or embarrassment. Like if I get embarrassed if we just flub something up and like we didn't play well. That's when I'm like, oh, I suck or whatever. But like if we're ripping it and we're doing very well, and I sort of I feel very comfortable being a front man and a lead singer, and sometimes I feel like, does that mean that I'm a sociopath?
Now, do either of you have a memory of your first concert live music experience you ever got to see?
Oh yeah, I remember going to a local show. I mean, I grew up going to church, so I saw music performed, but the first time going to a concert was just some local bands. I don't even know what the connection was, but I just remember maybe I was like 10 years old watching them and just thinking like, how did they come up with their own songs and they all know how to play the right thing at the same time? Like it blew my mind, and probably in part because they were teenagers, right? They weren't that much older than me.
Yeah.
And something clicked there of being like, oh, I could do that. And that seems so fun. Like, but just seeing them, like they came up with their own songs and they all knew what to play. I don't know, for whatever reason, my little 10-year-old brain was like so blown away by that.
Now that was your first show? Like your parents didn't drag you to a show somewhere at some point?
I don't think so. I think that was my first like concert experience.
That's awesome. So you got to choose to pick to go to that. So that's good on you, man. I got dragged to Kenny Rogers as a fucking 7-year-old. So.
Not a bad start.
Nowhere to go but up.
Yeah. How about you, Ben?
My first concert was, there's not a lot of live music in West Virginia other than like the bluegrass circle sort of thing, but that's like at somebody's house. My first actual concert was when I was in high school, like early high school, maybe freshman year. And me and my girlfriend went to, and I convinced my dad to drop me off at this. And I'm still surprised that he did not like chaperone me or whatever. But it was Red Hot Chili Peppers touring Californication. It was Stone Temple Pilots opening for them, touring number 4. And the first opener was Fishbone, which was like this dark ska band.
I know who they are.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, and this is clearly not like wholesome, family friendly sort of environment or whatever.
Especially not Fishbone opening. No.
The dude was like, first you get the engagement ring, then you get the wedding ring, and then you get the suffering. Is literally how he started the concert. But I just have it was at the local like basketball court, like sort of amphitheater in Charleston, which is the capital city of West Virginia. And man, my little mind was blown. And it's like you go back and there's some nostalgia still with some of those songs, but like I'll still fuck with the Red Hot Chili Peppers. So, like, especially that record. There's like a lot going on that's praiseworthy there. So that was my first concert.
Wow. Yeah, I don't fuck with the Chili Peppers. So
it might just be nostalgia for me.
Yeah, it's one of those bands, and I'm not even going to do it anymore because the first band I do on our Alexa Skip segment, I don't understand it. Like,
yeah.
And there's lots of things that I understand why people love it and it's great. I understand it, but I don't like it. And the Chili Peppers, I just don't get it. Like I don't know what it is. I've tried and I'm just like, no, I don't get it. I don't get how they got to where they are, and I don't understand it. I'm sorry. I'm one of those guys.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I don't like anything else in their entire discography other than Californication, but I loved that record as like a 14-year-old.
Do you have a show that you either played or attended that you have a crazy memory of, for good or bad?
The one that comes to mind for me is I saw Brand New, Me Without You, and Thrice play together. Brand New was touring Devil and God. Me Without You was touring Brother Sister, and Thrice was touring the Alchemy Index. They had just come out with the first like Fire and Water first part of it and hadn't dropped Earth and Air yet. And that was the first time I ever seen Me Without You, and just Aaron Weiss's stage presence and his just charisma was absolutely mesmerizing. And they're probably I'm big in my feels because they just did their like farewell tour this last year.
Yeah.
And got to see them and say goodbye and all that. But like that's probably mine, is seeing Me Without You for the first time.
Yeah, we played a show a little while back with a band called A Boy and His Kite, and meeting Dave in person, just blown away by how kind he is and how nice and supportive and friendly. I don't know, that's not like a crazy memory, but that's one that sticks out of recent music history that to me it was like such a sweet and nice thing. And I'm like, this guy is so kind and I want to be like this guy.
Yeah.
That's awesome. When it comes to finding new music, how do you go about it? How do you find your new music with it? There's so much music out there. There's so many different things to find. What do you find is the best way for you to find new music to listen to and fall in love with?
I follow a bunch of people on Twitter that I like their tastes. So that is kind of my main way, is like whether it's Keegan and the guys from Camp Trash, and they will like hype up other bands a lot. Or just like Small Albums is another music blog that we like absolutely love, and they'll hype up lesser known bands that are just so excellent and so good. And so I think it's just like being in even if it's just an online relationship, but being basically in relationship with some folks that have some good tastes and some complementary like preferences, and then seeing what they're listening to.
Yeah, Ben's been a pretty good filter for that stuff. I feel like if Ben's like, hey, you'll like this band, then almost certainly will like it. So and then I'm not afraid to use the algorithm a little bit. Like it's a little maybe shameful to say, but it sometimes knows what you like.
Yeah, if you like an album and then you're like, play the Spotify radio based off of that, that's actually a decent way to find some new bands too.
Yeah, and listen, everybody needs a friend like Ben that says, hey, here's some new music. I know it'll probably fall under your taste. Everybody needs that friend. I think music is a community, right? So having a leader in that community to find new music for people, that's kind of what we do here. That's my goal, is to find the music and give it to the masses so they can find a sound that they already kind of like, or something brand new that they never knew they'd fall in love with before. So
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that you by doing that, you're doing, I think, some of the best work in the world, man. So
That's right.
you keep doing it, please.
I appreciate that. No reason to blow smoke up a host's ass. I already like you guys. So
No, but I'm serious. I also think that I should be praised when I bring other people new music. So praise me, and I'll praise you. You know?
all right, great. We'll start a love affair on Twitter, and even, but I don't even think we even fucking use our Twitter anymore. I don't think we ever really did. I think we posted a couple times on it. We just did the gram thing and now I don't know. I don't even know how to use TikTok, so I think I got to go to that next. But every day I figure something out, it changes, and I got to go to something new. So
yeah, I hate it all. I like the slow death of Twitter is painful to me because that was the first platform. I only joined it like a year ago. That was the first platform that I was like, oh, I can figure out how to use this, and I can figure out like how to follow people that I like and sort of get in front of. I can figure out how to game this and get in front of other people that I think will like our music. And the fact that it's been like burning to the ground slowly for the last months has been a real pain. I'm never going to go on TikTok, man.
It scares us. We talked about it, and we're all too timid to like try it.
You don't want to be the first ones to fail at TikTok?
The stakes are too high, Shane.
Yeah.
We have too much riding on this.
Right.
Now, do you find it, especially, we just talked about finding music, do you find it hard to get your music out there? Do you find it harder because of the way things are now?
I mean, yes and no. The cool thing about like Spotify and streaming and all these platforms is like anyone can do it. So in that sense, you know, we have no label support. We recorded the album ourselves. We mixed it ourselves. All the promotion we've done in-house. It's just 5 guys telling their friends and putting it out on the internet. So in that sense, it's really, really cool that we can do it. But of course, the obvious flip side of that is everyone else can do it too. And there is a ton of noise, and there is a ton of like, you know, people don't have patience. So it's total double-edged sword. And I think it's overall like for the good, because I don't think we could have done this 20 years ago. We could do it now, but it has its dark side too.
And, you know, we've got a couple, I think, band has to have just like their thing that they grind at in the same direction. And for us, it's kind of our two main approaches to trying to get our music in front of people is I constantly post on Twitter about stuff. And, you know, like there's a correlation of like, if you look at our stats, it's like every time there's something music related that on Twitter gets a number of likes or whatever, like more people are listening to our music. It's not like the main, you know, like I think the main reason I use Twitter is because I have so many unfiltered thoughts that I just can't be texting Daniel all the time. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, you know, Danny, you want to hear my thoughts on, you know, this new A24 movie or whatever, you know? But like,
but Twitter will hear that.
But Twitter will hear that.
Yes.
Yeah. And there will be some weird ass stranger who will be like, yeah, me too. and so that's our first sort of direction, is just like be on Twitter basically, and post on Instagram enough that we're not like a ghost town on there. And then Daniel, what he has really done, and I think has been really foundational to a lot of our streaming success and sort of getting it, not that we're not a success by any means, but you know what I mean? Like just getting a little bit more than our moms listening to it, has been Daniel just finds really cool Spotify playlists, not like the editorial, like made by Spotify, but like just Spotify users, real people who make like a Midwest emo playlist. And it's got a lot of bands that we like. Daniel will just find that person online, send him a message on Instagram or whatever and say, hey, you should check out this song. I think it would fit really well on your playlist. It would mean the world to us if you popped it on there. And he does that enough times to where these playlists that are user made that have between like 50 and 5,000 likes on it. If you just do that enough, eventually people who listen to those playlists will just listen to you. And then hopefully if it's good and it's a good reaction, they'll actually go back to the album and listen to it. And so he grinds on that like all the time. And I think that that's been a big way that we've gotten our music in front of people.
Yeah, that's right. Everyone's got a little part. We all keep moving it forward, and bit by bit, we're getting out there.
No, that's awesome. And I like how you're reaching out to user-made stuff, because I think one of the biggest issues that I find is that there used to be this huge filter on music, which was radio stations and labels, right? That was the filter. You only got to listen to what they chose for you to listen to. And then now we're in a world where there's no fucking filter. And
Right.
So anyone has the opportunity to create and put stuff out there when a lot of people shouldn't. And and having the filter through that stuff to get to the good stuff, I think that's what I struggle with sometimes. Listen, I spend hours every single night searching, listening to new music, and when I find something I like, I listen to everything the band's done, and I'll be all in. And sometimes I'll be like, all right, so yeah, they wrote 2 good songs.
Right.
I'm like, not good enough for me, and then I move on.
Yeah.
But there's not that filter anymore, and I think sometimes that's detrimental because you have to weed through so much shit to get to the diamonds. Like, it's crazy.
Well, Shane, that means a lot that you took the time to listen to our stuff, and that we're here today. Like, that's really encouraging. So thank you.
Well, you're welcome, and you don't have to say that. You're already on the show.
No, appreciate it.
No, I do. I appreciate it. I'm, North Jersey ball buster. That's what I.
Every time we're like a little bit earnest and grateful, you're like, you fucking guys.
There's because listen, North Jersey, everyone's got an ulterior motive behind their niceness. It's not. It's not always pure. Someone's always suspect.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Now, for 2 guys in this band creating this music, especially today, we talked about just now about finding music, doing things. And one of the ways, especially on Bandcamp, is through genre labeling, right?
Right.
And there's so many sub-genres, so many different things that go out there. What would you, if you had to fall under one of those subs or one full genre, what do you think people would say about you, or do you agree with what people have already said about you?
We identify, this is a funny, we talk about this a fair amount. We identify as an emo band, but like, if you actually dig deep, our shit is just singer-songwriter indie rock. Like, that's actually what we do.
Yeah.
Singer-songwriter indie rock is too generic and vague at this point in music, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can't find a niche. The only way that you can find, I think, a following and a community is by niching down enough, right?
Yeah.
And so the music that we make, if any Joe Schmo who didn't like emo music listen to it, they'd just be like, well, that's just a rock song,
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's true. At the same time as, well, all of us in the band, except for Ryan, the bassist. Ryan wasn't an emo head until we made him an emo head. Yeah, now he's like, he'll roll up to practice blaring Sunny Day Real Estate, and we all feel very proud. But the shared musical language that we all grew up on is just emo rock. And especially that second wave, late 90s, the formational stuff in like the Midwest emo scene. Now, we're not twinkly, we're not math rocky, we don't have any of the sort of stereotypical elements of emo music. We don't even really have gritty, yelly vocals that much. We just make pretty indie rock that is at the base of it folk music, but like, that's not enough of a niche and enough of a community. So we've actually found it advantageous to just wear the sort of like, we're in the 5th wave now.
I have no idea what wave we're in. Everybody brings up a wave, and I'm just like, my big thing with waves is, listen, waves recede a little bit, but they never go away. They just go further into the ocean, and that just means people, it's not as popular as it was, but people are still creating that music. So that's why I'm always like, I don't know what fucking wave, like, what are we on the 38th wave right now? Like, who knows?
Right.
Like, it's just the music's always been created. It's always, someone's always been doing it. You just haven't been following it maybe at that time because everybody goes through changes, right? You get older and your taste change. So
that's right. So we're an emo band, but like I also think Counting Crows is an emo band. You know what I mean? Like they write emotional guitar music, and so that's our label, and that's on Bandcamp. That's like we'll do Denver indie rock singer songwriter emo whatever, and hopefully we can find a little community of people who like the same stuff.
Now, when it comes to that wave of emo that you fell in love with, is there a band that you've constantly turned to, even still to this day? And Daniel or Ben, you can both answer that. Is there a band from that era that you're just like always turn to whether it's good or bad in your life going on, you just go back to one of those bands?
Yeah, there's a handful for sure. American Football would be kind of like the obvious one. And that for me, for whatever reason, that the first album is like my nap album. Like if I get a chance to take a lot of naps in my life.
I hope Mike hears this so he knows that you like to fall asleep to his music.
When I do, I put my headphones on, I listen to American Football LP1, and it's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we've already talked a lot about Clarity. That I think it is when I think of like what is emo royalty, it's really that record. And then I think the Get Up Kids, Something to Write Home About, I listen to that record a lot still. And then there's a band called The Anniversary, which was
the D in Detroit is on. It goes on every playlist I have in life.
Yeah. Dude, that first Anniversary record is. I still want to get eventually a project that's like Guy Girl, that sort of. Tiger's Jaw recently kind of sounds like The Anniversary a little bit. Yeah. But like I kind of still wish that there were more bands that like were replicating that first Anniversary record. I love that record so much.
Yeah, that was, and I think that's like one of the reasons like Raina Maria why I fell in love with that too. When and it's just there's that dynamic, and I think at that time too, when stuff like that was coming out, you were allowed to do whatever you wanted.
Right.
You know what I mean? There was no, because everyone was still trying to figure it out at the same time. I think that's kind of what it was. It was everyone was trying to figure out exactly what this is supposed to be, what this style of music, and everybody could just do whatever they wanted, and everybody just found what they liked that way.
That's right.
So the blueprint was laid out for the fifth wave, you said? So for the fifth wave, the blueprint was laid out a long time ago.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting about like I very much agree with you that these waves, like, they're very meaningless.
It's arbitrary.
Yeah. But one of the things that usually bands that call themselves fifth wave are the ones that don't really care about genre at this point.
Yeah.
It's just more like they identify as emo more for the scene and the community. But like you'll have Hey I Love You, like Hey Illy, as like a fifth wave emo band, and they're totally like chiptune, like they don't sound anything like Ogbert the Nerd or Camp Trash or whatever. Like they're just it doesn't emo bands that are in the same scene and this quote unquote the same genre, they don't sound a thing like each other anymore. And that, at least that's my understanding of one of the markers of fifth wave, is like almost like a post genre sort of thing, which is pretentious, but also I'm into it. It's kind of cool.
There hasn't been a post emo yet, right? There was post hardcore. There's post rock. There hasn't been a post emo yet. Maybe you guys should start the post emo wave.
There's actually a band called Hot Mulligan who one of the big annoying claims to fame is like they literally on their Twitter bio say we invented post emo.
Now we just went over that era, but is there a band in your life? Rolling Stone classifies it as favorite band. I classify a band that never lets you down.
Yeah.
Is there a band that throughout your life and something you always go back to? I have 2 or 3 that no matter what mood I'm in, those are the bands that I always go to turn on, and I know I'm never going to be disappointed.
Now, you mean when you say never let you down, you mean like they never put something out you didn't like?
Well, no, listen, everyone's, the Beatles wrote some shitty songs.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is it's just something that's near and dear. You know, how I said Rolling Stone says favorite. I don't like the favorite band thing because, I don't like everyone's answer is always the Beatles, and I think it's a cop-out.
Right.
But for you, a band that you just always go to, never lets you down. Yes, they wrote some shit songs. Every band has, except for you guys. And,
Transatlanticism, Death Cab, like I can go back to that again and again and again, and it always makes me happy. So a lot of their earlier stuff just always brings me joy.
Yeah, Death Cab from like We Have the Facts and We're Voting Yes through Plans, I think is a perfect run, at least in my book. If they had broken up after that, I would have been sad, but I would not have been subjected to a bunch of really mediocre records. So I would say like early Death Cab 2, and then man, we've been talking about Jimmy Eat World a lot, but like from Static Prevails through Futures, like is just such a strong run, and I can put any of those records on. There's an EP called Stay on My Side Tonight, which I go back to a lot also, and man, even like the 2 most recent Jimmy Eat World singles have sort of breathed a little bit of optimism for the future of the state. The state of the Jimmy Eat World Union, like Something Loud felt very much like a return to form, right?
I haven't been excited about Jimmy Eat World in probably 15 years. When Something Loud came out, I jumped off of my couch after listening to it and started sending it to all my friends. Being like, holy fuck, what's going on? I'm so excited for this.
Yeah, lyrically, musically, it was very much the same Jimmy Eat World that I've fell in love with. So, yeah.
What's the last song you cried to?
Our keyboardist, Nick Weber, he just leaked his solo record to us. He's been like kind of secretly working on this in his little home recording lab for like the last like 2 years.
Yeah.
And so Daniel and I and the other guys in the band have heard like snippets of stuff, and we used to do this more than we do it now, but we would early days in A Place for Owls would headline a house show and Nick Weber would open because he's just our favorite singer-songwriter, even though he's in the band, right? And so we've heard some of these songs in a live setting, but my God, like
so good.
I had a moment this morning of just like literally staring at my dresser. I was midway through getting dressed and I was listening to his record, and I just stopped dead in my tracks for 5 or 6 minutes and just was weeping openly. So it's I can't hype it enough, man. I think he deserves to be the biggest band in the world. It reminds me a little bit of like the genre bravery that somebody like Bartees Strange has to just kind of do his own thing. Nick is doing that too, where he's got Sufjan Stevens singer-songwriter shit. He's got indie rock. He's got emo stuff. He's got really sort of like areas of like very beautiful, almost like 90s pop music that like you would not think would all fit together in a studio.
And it's all got so much heart. Like and part of it is because we know the guy behind it, but even if you didn't, I mean it would hit you. It's just right.
Yeah.
Now you're getting me excited to cry. That's
good.
Dude, I love a good cry. I don't cry enough, to be honest with you.
When I start to feel it come, I just let it go. Like I don't fight it. I don't fight it back because listen, you gotta cry every once in a while because it's healthy.
It is.
Is there something that either of you listen to that someone listening to this show and someone who's in an emo band, we would be very surprised to hear you get tons of enjoyment out of listening? You're not allowed to say Nick Weber anymore.
I think it's
Creed. Come on now. I mean, I would be surprised to know. I like that.
I'm anti butt rock personally, but there's a significant butt rock like contingency in our drummer Jesse loves Creed and all things butt rock, and so does Daniel. And yeah, that's a good answer. Yeah, but man, I feel like I don't know if anything really is embarrassing anymore.
Well, no, it's not. They used to call it a guilty pleasure. I just call them pleasures. But it's surprising, like if someone, walked in on you. I always say there's no matter what you say, no matter how big cocky you think you are, if someone walked in on you listening to something you kind of felt you shouldn't be enjoying, you'd still have that 2 seconds of, oh shit. Like I'm sorry. Everybody has that. Everybody has that little tiny tinge of am I going to be judged right now?
Yeah. I don't know if I don't know if I have anything other than just like those 2 Taylor Swift records that the guys from National produced.
Yeah.
I legitimately think that that's good music.
That's great music. Now it would be more so towards the new one, and I've told this story on a previous episode. I'm in my mid 40s, and so are my friends, and we just walked up to each other and we were talking. And we're like, "Dude, you hear the new Taylor Swift album?" Never in my life did I think that would be uttered, and that's what he says. He goes, "Dude, did you hear?" And I go, "Yes, it's fucking awesome, right?" And I'm like, "What's happening right now? What is going on?"
Yeah, it is so good.
I don't think the new one is very good. I liked that. I miss the Dressners from the National being like the sort of main vibe. But I'm glad you like it.
Yeah. See, judgy. That's what I'm talking about. You're that person that walks in when I'm dancing around to it.
Yeah. Well,
I just said I was dancing around on a recording. Good thing I can edit that.
Yeah. My wife is historically a big Swiftie, and she was listening to the new record, and then there was the line of "Everybody wants to be a sexy baby" or something like that. she had that moment of embarrassment with me. Like I looked at her with like sheer judgment in my eyes, and she literally like she got sad and turned it off, and then I was like, "Oh no."
Look at what I've done.
Yeah.
All right. World's going to end in 5 minutes. Meteors crashing into the earth. You can only listen to one song.
Gotcha.
What song are you listening to?
Oh my God. I think Pink Rabbits by the National, which was a sleeper song. It wasn't my favorite when I heard it on record, but I just started playing it acoustically all the time at the house. And so I think if a meteor's coming, I actually wouldn't even put on the record. I think I would pull out a guitar and play Pink Rabbits by the National.
That's good. Here Comes the Sun. I feel like that's a good way to go out.
Yeah. Ball of fire coming at you. Yeah, no, that's a good way to go.
Yeah.
So we've been doing at this now for an hour. Wow, that went fast. I don't want to keep you guys very long, and I also don't want to bore the listeners with having it be too long. But right now, why don't you tell everybody how to find all your stuff that you're doing, how to purchase, and again, people, I'm tired of having to say this, help the artists by actually purchasing their music if you like them, and do it directly from them. Purchase a shirt, an album, something. Please do it. But why don't you tell everybody how to find everything that you guys do?
If you go to aplaceforowls.com, there's links to everything. If you click merch on aplaceforowls.com, we have a number of really very stupid and goofy t-shirts that you should buy. And that's actually the most money we ever make is when people buy our very stupid and
that
goofy.
Or Bandcamp.
Yeah, but then go to Bandcamp /aplaceforowls. And our record is only out digitally. So because we don't have a label and we're self-produced, we just made the choice to just put out the MP3s, but pay the $10 and buy the MP3s. You will enjoy it. We are right now trying to pull together some funds to do a limited run of vinyl for our first LP. And so we're hoping that we can do that, pull that together in the next few months. And so maybe there'll be pre-order for that, but buy a t-shirt, buy the goddamn MP3s, please.
He said please. So
Yes,
that's all
please.
you need to know.
Yeah.
What are you guys looking forward to the most coming up for what you're doing?
We are writing the next record. We've got about 10 songs that we think are like in a pretty good place as far as the actual songwriting. Now it's just like getting good arrangements of them. We want to stretch ourselves a little bit. And in the same way that like Jimmy Eat World went from Static Prevails to Clarity without being pretentious and saying that we're going to do that. We
Good thing we're not on video because I didn't want you to see my face there. Right
I
when
know,
you made that
but
comment. Like, huh?
but like
It was like a dog hearing a noise in the other room. Like, what?
Yeah, we want to, in the same way that they stretch themselves to be the best that they could be, we just kind of want to stretch ourselves to be the best that we could be, and not give a fig about genre or, what other people will say about it, right?
Yeah,
And so
just make the best songs that you can make it.
That's right.
that's right.
Yeah.
So we're writing and arranging the next LP. We're trying to figure out. We've saved everything we've ever made as a band to like be able to pay for stuff, but honestly, that's only a couple $1,000.
Yeah.
And so when you're a self-released band, and like getting on a label is nice because you get resources, but you also give away a lot of your money, go down the road, your control and stuff like that. And really the reality is like you kind of don't need a label at this point. And so, I don't know, man. We're just trying to figure out that arithmetic of like being ambitious and trying to get a flippin' string section on a song, but then we're like, oh, we don't have money for that. So what's the next best? What's the next best thing for us?
Nick Weber's the next best thing.
That's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can do it all. Yeah,
You can do it all. Awesome. Well, listen, I'm looking forward to some awesome stuff from you guys because what you've already given me has been pretty fucking awesome. So thank you for that. I want to say thank you very much for that.
Yeah, we appreciate that, man.
Yeah,
that means a lot.
Now we're going to go into our final segment. It's our weekly threes. You each get three choices, three things you're listening to right now that you'd like people to check out. And you can't say Nick Weber because it's not out yet. So
right. So there's a songwriter from Seattle called Elliot Green, and she is putting out a record next week. And so depending upon when the episode comes out, it's probably already going to be out. But Elliot Green, you should listen to. I have been really digging the new Fireworks record. It's amazing. It's so good. And man, I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and say you should go back to listen to Peter Gabriel's 80 like his record Go that has like Your Eyes.
It's called So.
Oh, So, that's right. Yes. Yeah. So listen to So by Peter Gabriel.
Yeah. I'd say it's one of the most perfect albums.
It really is, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say Cara Cara. It's a big favorite. The song Better just hits me every time I hear it.
Yeah.
Great band. I Feel Fine. Really, really love their stuff. And then kind of in that same vein, Lakes. Those three, just everything they've done, everything I listen to, I love it every time I hear it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Good threes. All right. My threes, where you guys first appeared a while ago. My first band is a band called Celebration Guns.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah. They dropped a EP called Midlife Vices. It's fucking awesome. Second band is called Tired Radio. They have a new single out called Old Keys, kind of alternative punk rock from Brooklyn. And the last one is Found This, and this is one of those things. It doesn't fit into a theme for the threes of what I've been listening to, but there was a band back in the 60s. They were called the Staples Junior Singers. Soul, gospel, never got love. No one ever really knew who they were. And someone found their music and decided to release it and put it on vinyl. The name of the album is When Do We Get Paid? Aptly enough, for a band who soul singers who traveled around old Mississippi and never got their just due. So that's the last one that I've been listening to. Nice stuff to have on in the background and just chill to. It's really good. So I recommend that for a nice snowy evening, maybe out there in Colorado.
That's awesome.
But Daniel, Ben, thank you guys so much for being here. Again, we do appreciate what it is you do. You've created something pretty spectacular. We're happy to promote it and feature you guys. I see nothing but the best from you guys. You got me amped up about Nick Weber. So I'm happy about that too. Can't wait to hear some of that stuff. But thank you for all you've done, and continue to create. You keep creating, we'll keep listening. That's our motto here, and we'll support you to the end. So thank you so much for what it is you guys have given us so far.
Thanks, Shane. This is awesome.
Well, everybody, you know what time it is. It's time to go out, listen to A Place for Owls, and have a great fucking time.
There's a book that I am trying to read. There's a hammer in my head that is talking to me. There's a lover in my heart I can't see. There's a book that I am trying to read to me. I am holding on to something greater than myself. Hope is hard to come by these days, calling for some help. There's a garden I am trying to weed. There's a picture on my wall that just won't let me sleep. My beloved on my mind, out to sea. There's a book that I am trying to read to me. I am holding on to something greater than myself. Hope is hard to come by these days, calling for some help. I am holding on to something greater than myself. Hope is hard to come by these days, calling for some help. I am holding on to something greater than myself. Hope is hard to come by these days, calling for some help.
Thanks again for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. We hope you enjoyed this week's show. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at HiddenTracks99. Also, send all your submissions to myhiddentracks99@gmail.com. Tune in next week. You may find your new favorite band, and don't forget to go out and have a great fucking time.